And because we don't have enough people that can be successors in countries, we try to look at a groups of people that are often overlooked and that are underrepresented when it comes to being a successor in a company, and that are very promising. And we defined these 4 groups that are quite interesting to become a successor in companies. For the first group are female entrepreneurs. The rate of females leading companies overall is rather low, and especially the rate of females taking over companies is much too low. And we would like to see this boosted. And I'm happy that Anita will give us some information about this in a few seconds. The second group is employees as successors. So if you don't find somebody within your family, you don't find an external buyer, how about your employee as a successor? This can be somebody from the management level, but it could also be a cooperativa, like we heard on the business transfer model presented by Svea. Very relevant for all countries are immigrants as successors, because quite a number of immigrants are coming to our countries, and they could also be trained to become a successor of an existing company. This applies to all countries. In the old member states, these are often people from countries like Syria, Iraq, but also in Poland, you have, I think, the highest rate of immigrants coming from Ukraine, for example. And in Germany, we have estimates that we need every year around, I think, 500,000 people, immigrants, to come to our country just so that our rate of population stays on the same level. And why not look into how immigrants can be trained as entrepreneurs and successors? And actually, on this Economist paper that I copied there, it's very small, it says that the EU newest members face economic decline unless they woo back workers that left the country or recruit immigrants of their own. And this brings me to the next and last action group. That is wrong. It's on female entrepreneurs. It's returning workforce. It's copy mistake. So how you can attract back the people that left the country. Maybe especially Lithuania lost, I think, 1/5 of its working population in the last 15 years. So young people going to study in the UK or in Norway or in other countries, and it could be very interesting to convince them to come back and take over companies, because what they learned in these other countries was maybe very interesting, and this is new life and new blood cells that help to boost the local companies if they can be convinced to take over these companies as well. So we'll hear about these 4 action groups now, and then we have some time for discussion. The first action group will be presented by Professor Dr. Anita Richard-Kaszmierka, and she will inform us about the female entrepreneurs. Anita, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Max, for your welcome words. It's great to see all of you, and I will try to share my screen. I hope everything will go smoothly. Okay. Do you see the presentation? Please let me know. Okay, great. Thank you. I have presented in St. Petersburg first results of our research, because our task, Gdańsk University of Technology, was to diagnose the situation of women in labor market, in family business and succession process. Find and present good examples of successful succession where the women were successors, and define some recommendation propositions of action. So when we met, it was great meeting in St. Petersburg. I presented some preliminary results. After that meeting, we continued our research. We also collected several good examples from our partners. And now a very short sum up of what we have already done. Usually when I start presentation, it lasts, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. I know I have only 10 minutes, so I promise to present it shortly. Firstly, some information about women on the labor market. 15th of March, we had the International Women's Day, and Eurostat presented very fresh information about the women's situation on labor market. And of course, I presented some figures from years 2018, 2019 in St. Petersburg, and now we have the information from 2020, the fourth quarter. So the situation, the women's situation on labor market is much more difficult and much worse than the situation of men. They work more hours per week, and more of these hours are unpaid work. You can see here the graph that we have the comparison that women statistically in European Union work 33 hours paid work, men 39. But then we have 36 hours unpaid work conducted by women, and only 21 hours per week of unpaid work conducted by men. For every €1 that men earn, women earn only 86 euro cents. And from the Eurostat statistics, we find that women work almost 2 months for free each year compared to men. So what is the general conclusion when we describe the women's situation in the labor market? They do extra unpaid work. They take career breaks to care for others, for children and older persons in the family. They facing the glass ceiling and working in segregated labor market. I presented in St. Petersburg the sectors where women dominate. Those are teachers, nurses, but not only. And they are discriminated very often on the labor market. And here you have the graph where the gender pay gap is presented. So how much less do women earn than men? And the worst situation is in Estonia, Latvia, Austria, Germany, Czech Republic, and the smallest gender pay gap is in Luxembourg, Romania, Italy, Belgium. What is very important, and I think what is the great challenge for us, especially for me, because I'm interested in aging economy, is that when women less earn now, they will have less money later. So this is a great challenge because women live longer. In Poland, it's about 10 years longer than men statistically. So their pensions are much lower than men's pension. And if we have the average gender pay gap 14% in European Union right now, the pension gender gap is right now over 30%. So this is the first picture. What is the situation on labor market, women's situation on labor market? So now the second picture, what is the situation of women in family business? So 22% of family business top management, as you can see here, top management teams are composed of women. Less than 30% top leaders position in family business are occupied by women, but 70% of family business are considering the women for their next CEO, and 30% are strongly considering a woman for top spot. So we can say that in family business, the women's position, again, is not very good, very optimistic. What are the barriers in taking over family business by women? At first, traditional rules. women usually, we can say, stay behind their men, who are the leaders of the company, family company, who are the leaders of the family. So they are helping these men to take the great challenges. They take care about family. They take care. The women take care about family. They take care about several things in the companies, but they do not take over the leadership very often. Women are invisible in family firms. This is the conclusion from very many professional research. There is a lack of desire to advance their career. There are several stereotypes about men, that they are more effective leaders. Of course, research presents opposite opinions as well. And usually we have this relationship between companies, and they are built by men. They are the leaders of these companies are men. So this is very difficult for women when she is a new leader to go into this old boys network. And here we have a kind of presentation of life cycle when the women decide to go into the family business development and taking over the leadership. Usually, women, girls start being a part of company from early childhood. Of course, they are just visiting, they are spending their time in the company. So in very many women's heads becomes the thought, well, sometime I will take over the company. But then there are several, challenges, issues, problems rising. Because how to force the priority work-life balance. Women have to work. Women have to take care about families and other things. Then they have very often to prove their value more intensive than men. But of course, we have several successful women leaders who can develop the family companies, and thanks to these women, the companies skip to much higher level of development. What is quite interesting, I found in some research that women who take over the family companies, who become the leader, the top leader of this company, are younger than men who take over the company after their fathers or mothers. Yes, women's in succession process. First of all, what is the conclusion from research, and what is the conclusion from the interviews, meetings with entrepreneurs, family business leaders, managers, owners? Family business owners rarely consider their daughter as a first candidate for succession. Women, usually daughters are a second choice. That is a son who is expected to join the family business. Daughters can assume the leadership of the family business only in a special circumstances. First, such a special situation is that there are no male potential successors. There are no sons or even sons-in-law who could take over the company. So if we do not, or the owners do not have someone male who could take over the company, so they say, well, okay, it can be daughter. Another one, all the male members of the family are not interested in running the business. In generally, it was said here several times, have problem with successors. Young people do not want, they are not interested, they are not ready, they are not supported enough to be to will to take the family companies. And we can observe that male members of the families are even less interested than women. The family or the business is going through a tough time. And very often when something unexpected, very difficult for the family and for the company happens, we have the illness of the owner. The owner dies. There are business market problems with the company. Very often then the women take the challenge and they take over the company. And we found several such examples that the critical situation is the situation when really the women are those who take the companies. Daughters has an effective involvement in the family business and the close relationship with the predecessor. Sometimes it is that we have the father and his small daughter all the time. The small daughter, the most valuable person in his life. So then really these daughters are chosen for those who became successors in this first choice. And sometimes it is that families choose to create a team of family members, sons and daughters, to share leadership. And then those girls have their own sphere part for which they are responsible. And they are important in the succession process, but maybe not the main leader afterwards. But what we observed last years, it's quite interesting. Those are, I don't know if this translation is good. Dynasties in the female line. What does it mean that more and more women have their companies, start their companies, and when the succession moment becomes, for women owner, very often the first choice is daughter. So we have collected, of course, several good practices, good examples, the successful successions. And here I only present you those from Poland where we have this situation that from women to women. Here you have three very well-known Polish companies, the Batida, Mokate, and Hexline. And in each of these examples, we had the couple who started the company. First was the bakery, the second food production. Mostly they are focused on the coffee and tea production, but not only. And the last one, maybe it's a little bit different, but in each of this example, there was a couple who started the company. Then in different situations, the husband died or focused on another action. The woman was the main leader of this company. In the first generation, Jadwiga, here in this Batida, Teresa in Mokate, and Halina in Hexline. And after several years, they involved their daughters and granddaughters to start or to run the company with them. So here we have three generations, Jadwiga, Jolanta, and Caroline. In Batida, that was quite interesting that Jolanta lived in Brussels. And when the bakery of Jadwiga was quite well developed, but the husband died, she asked daughter to come to Poland to run the company with her. And she decided to do that. And Caroline was studying in Brussels and in Paris. And now she's also working with her grandmother and mother. Here in Mokate, we have two successors, brother and daughter, brother and sister, Adam and Katarzyna, and brother's wife. And what is quite interesting, these two girls, Katarzyna and Sylvia, the successors, they promote very much women's entrepreneurship. I think this is very important, that success women, they promote other women to run and to run companies and to take over the family businesses. And here again, the mother who started the fashion clothing company, and now daughter is working with her. She's responsible for promotion, for communication, but she expects someday she will take over the company. And steps that should be done, as I told you, first we were responsible for diagnose the situation, then find and present good examples, and finally our task in this point was to define some recommendation and propositions. And first of all, promote women's achievements, especially among young women who have to believe in themselves. And what I have found very important, it is to talk with students. You know that I run the courses of entrepreneurship, and thanks to the openness of our dean, some of the topics regarding succession, family business were involved in the curriculum of this subject. And there are a lot of girls studying management at our university. So one of the projects was for them to find successors, the family business, to talk with them, and that was very inspiring for these girls. The reports from these projects are really very interesting. But what I also find as very interesting, it's here, you can probably, you do not see the details, but this is the website and this is the blog. I am a successor. This is about young girl. She's writing about how she went through the whole process of succession and how it started, what she felt. And it is quite common with this. We have heard early in the morning from Anders. She writes here about her experiences, about her history life, that she didn't plan to take over the family business, that parents did not push her, how the family behave and how she react when a situation was really dramatic and she was asked to take over the company. I think this is a very good idea when we have successful people that share with their feelings. So we do not only observe them when they are on the top, but we can observe the way how they react on different phases. I know I have to finish. Probably. So another steps we proposed in our report: promote diversity-friendly workplaces, promote balanced work teams, overcome gender-related stereotypes, of course, remove barriers to women progress, and develop financial supporting tools for women entrepreneurs. And if you are interested in more information, we have collected. I can suggest you to join our report, which was introduced by Herpa when she was talking about website, our project's website. There is this report, but we also prepared 2 books. One, challenging future of family business. There is a chapter dedicated to the issue of women successors, and another book, whom and how transfer the business. These aspects are also included there. That's all from my side. Thank you again. That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anita. I have problems to cut off somebody talking about female entrepreneurship because it's so important. That's I didn't want to disturb you, but please try to keep your time. This especially is a very important action group. More than half of our population are females, and I think there's a lot of potential for them to become successors and promote this, no doubt.